Now I just want to show you the upright hound dogs, which turned out absolutely adorable. You can see their sad eyes, and I show how to make them with a bow. They also have their name tags. This is Kiwi, and then on the other side just has a little paw print. And I made these hound dogs where their arms will go up and down, as well as their legs. And this one on Kiwi has a little bit of a shorter hind leg. And then with the other dog, and I show the different colors, she has the pink on hers, but her name is Honey. She has her name tag. And then I made her legs a little bit longer. So on video tutorial, I show how to make the longer legs for her. This is what they look like from behind. And these are big dogs. These are about 18 inches from the top of their heads to the bottom. And with Kiwi, which was the one with the blue on, I showed how to make, I actually made Kiwi the larger tail, but on video tutorial I like the smaller one better. But if you like the larger one, you just start with a larger chain. So you can make your own unique dog however you want to. And then the other change that I made is on the back of the head. You can see how this one on video tutorial I show how to make the nice straight back edge. On my first dog it came out a little bit crooked, but still looks okay and is not noticeable unless I say something. But on video tutorial, like I said, I show how to make the straight back of the head. For this project, you're going to need your J or 6mm crochet hook. You're also going to need your scissors and your tapestry needle. You're also going to need your F or 4mm crochet hook for the eyes and the nose. I used Vanna's Choice Lion brand yarn, and the color is Honey. You're going to need three skeins of the honey colored yarn. I also used Red Heart with Love, and this is just a beautiful chocolate colored brown for the eyes. I also used Lion brand Pound of Love, a white colored yarn. For the eyes, I used Karen Simply Soft. This color is white, and then I also used a black colored yarn. And the reason I like this yarn for the eyes is because it's not as thick, and it also has a shimmery look to it, which looks good with the eyes when you make them. For the head, you're going to use the yarn color of your choice, and I'm using the honey colored yarn. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start with a slip knot. So you just take your yarn, fold it over on itself to form a loop, then take your crochet hook and put it right through the loop. And right now I'm using my J crochet hook. Just hold the base with your middle finger and your thumb, and then yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn right through that loop for a slip knot. Then you're going to make a chain of 28. I'm just going to make a few with you. There's 1, 2, make a couple more with you so you can see how I'm making the chain. 3, 4. Go ahead, finish making a chain of 28 and then come back. This is how your work looks after you make a chain of 28. Then we're going to move up to the next row. So you're going to hold that last stitch with your middle finger and your thumb. And you're going to yarn over and bring the yarn through the loop for a chain of 1. And then you're going to make a single crochet into the second chain from the hook, which is the stitch that you're holding. So take your crochet hook, go into that second chain from the hook. You're going to bring up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And then you're going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch back across, and then come back. So I'm just going to do a few with you. Just 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way back across. This is how your work looks so far, and for the beginners, to make sure that you didn't miss that last stitch, you can count your stitches and make sure you still have 28. You should have a count of 28 stitches, and we're going to make 40 rows total. So to move up to the next row, you're just going to chain 1, then turn your work, and you're just going to repeat 1 single crochet into every stitch back across, chain 1 and then turn, and 1 single crochet every stitch until you've completed a total of 40 rows, and then come back. This is how your work should look after completing 1 single crochet into every stitch across. When you reach the end, we're going to move up to the next row. So you're just going to make a chain of 1 and then turn your work. And here you could see how you have a little bit of an upslope at the base of your chain 1. You're not going to work into that stitch. You're going to work into the next stitch over. So you're going to make a single crochet into every stitch back across, and then come back. So 1 single crochet into every stitch back across, and then come back. This is how your back panel looks when you're done. And you should have completed 40 rows. After you're finished with your 40th row, then you're going to finish off. Just take your crochet hook, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. This is the front panel for the head, and you can see how straight the edges are. That's what you want, to have nice straight edges. The back panel and the side panel are made the same way. The only difference is that the back panel, you're going to start with a chain of 28 the same way, but you're only going to have 35 rows. Then for the side panel, you're going to start with a chain of 16, and you're going to have 92 rows of 1 single crochet into every stitch. So yes, Kiwi has a nice big cuddly head. Then go ahead and set all your panels aside when you're finished making them, and I'm going to show you how to make all the pieces for the face. For the nose, you're going to start with your black yarn. You're going to fold it over on itself to form a loop. And then you're going to use your F crochet hook, put it right through the loop, and then hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. And then you're just going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for a slip knot. Then you're going to make a chain of 7. 1, after you make a chain of 7, we're going to move to the next row. So you're going to hold that last stitch with your middle finger and your thumb, and then you're going to make a chain of 1. Then you're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook, which was the stitch that you were holding. You're going to bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch across. And then come back when you get to the last stitch. And I'll show you what to do next. When you reach your last stitch, you're going to make 3 single crochet into the last stitch. You're going to work behind the loose yarn end. That way you bury it as you work. So 3 single crochet into that last stitch. And then we're going to turn our work so that we're working on the opposite side. So we just made our single crochets on the bottom, and now we're going to make single crochets across the top. So after your 3 single crochet into that last stitch, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next stitch over, going behind the loose yarn end to bury it as you work. And then when you get close to reaching the end, you can go ahead and cut your loose yarn end if you need to. Then in your last stitch, let me double check if that's my last stitch. So in your last stitch, you're going to make 3 single crochet into the last stitch. Then you're going to need a yarn marker because we're going to work in rounds. For me, I just use one of my scraps of yarn. Go ahead and take your yarn marker, place it right where you left off. And then you're going to go into that first stitch, make a single crochet, and then you're going to make a single crochet into every stitch back across towards the end. And then on the stitch on the very end, so for me that would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th stitch. On the very end, you're going to make 2 single crochet into that stitch. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch until you get to the very last stitch before the yarn marker, because in that stitch you're going to make 2 single crochet into the same stitch. So only 1 single crochet into every stitch until you get to that stitch right before the yarn marker. And in that stitch, you're going to make 2 single crochet into the same stitch. So here I'm at that last stitch. I'm going to make 2 single crochet into the same stitch. Then you can take and move your yarn marker up. And now you're just going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch for 3 rounds. So 1 single crochet in every stitch around for 3 rounds and then come back. After you finish the 3 rounds, 1, 2, 3, of 1 single crochet into every stitch, your nose should look like this. Now we can go ahead and make a slip stitch into the next stitch over. So just take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch over, yarn over, and then bring the yarn through both loops on the hook. Then you're going to finish off, so you just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the nose onto your dog. You can go ahead and take your yarn marker out. Now your nose is complete. You can go ahead and set that aside, and we're going to make the eye now. To make the eye, you're going to start with your black yarn, and we're going to start with a magic circle. So you just take your black yarn, you're going to drape it across your 4 fingers, use your thumb to stabilize, and then wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers twice, and then hold it with your pinky and your thumb. You're going to hold the yarn just like this, and then we're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. Just take your F crochet hook, go under those 2 loops around the middle finger. You're going to yarn over and bring up a loop. Then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for a slip knot. Now you're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So I have 2 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. So that's 1 single crochet. Now I'm going to go under those 2 loops again, yarn over, bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both for a single crochet. And I'm going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you're going to take your forefinger and your thumb, and you're just going to hold the base of those 6 single crochet, and then you have these 2 loops on the opposite side. You're just going to pull on one of them to close. If it doesn't close, just let go and pull on the other one, but this one's closing, so I'm going to gently close it. Don't worry if you can't get it completely closed. We can always close it more later. Then take that loose yarn in that you have, and then pull on that gently to finish closing it. Now you have 6 single crochet around your magic circle. We're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around. So you're going to go into that first stitch, and you're going to make 2 single crochet into that same stitch. And you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12. So I'm going to do one more with you. 2 single crochet into the same stitch all the way around until you have a total of 12, and then come back. This is how your work should look. If you have an opening in the center of your magic circle, we're going to go ahead and close it. Just turn your work over and then just pull on that loose yarn end on the back, and then that closes up the magic circle. Let me close a little bit more. And you can see how that closes up the center of the magic circle nicely. Then you're going to take your yarn marker and just place it right where you left off. Now we're going to make 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. Go ahead and finish that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker and then come back. You should have finished 18 stitches on that round. Now you're going to go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up to where you left off, and you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. So 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, then you're going to turn your work. So you're going to turn it, and we're going to work back towards the yarn marker. Now you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next stitch over, and you're going to make 1 single crochet into a total of 4 stitches. Then you're going to turn your work again, and you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. Then you're going to turn your work again, and now you're going to work a single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the eye onto the dog when we're ready. You can go ahead and take out your yarn marker, and then this is how your eye should look so far. Now you're going to grab whatever color that you want for the color portion of the eye, and I'm using a darker brown, chocolate brown. What you're going to do is the longer end on the black portion of the eye you're going to leave pointing down, and you're going to have the top portion of the circle facing up. You're going to look at the center of your magic circle and then go straight up, and then you're going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. So when you count over 4 stitches, you're going to put your crochet hook through that stitch, and then you're going to join your color. You're going to make 1 chain, then you can tie a knot, This is how your work should look so far. Then you're going to make 1 more chain, then turn your work, and we're going to bury our loose yarn end as we work. So you're going to go into the next stitch over. You're going to bring up a loop. You're going to make a single crochet, and you're going to make a single crochet into a total of 8 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and cut my loose yarn end. Then I have 2 more stitches to make a single crochet into. So I've made a single crochet into a total of 8 stitches. Now you're going to take your work and turn it. You're going to face back the other direction. You're going to go into the next stitch over, and you're going to make 2 single crochet into that stitch, and you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch back across, and then come back. This is how your work should look. Then you're going to take your crochet hook, you're going to go into that stitch where you first joined, and you're going to make a slip stitch. So you're going to yarn over, you're going to pull the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Then you're going to go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the brown portion of the eye onto the dog when we're ready. So this is how our work looks so far. Now I'm going to put the white portion of the eye on. So you're just going to go right where you finished off. And you're going to take your Lion brand Pound of Love white. You're going to take your crochet hook, go right where you finished off. Then you're going to join. Make a chain of 1, and then go ahead and tie a knot, and then come back. After you tie your knot, then you're going to turn your work. You're going to take the brown yarn that you just finished off with and put that aside. We're going to take the white yarn, the loose yarn end, and we're going to bury it as we crochet. So now you're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to go into the next stitch. Try to get my loose yarn end out of the way. Go into that next stitch, going behind my loose yarn end, and I'm going to make 1 single crochet. So I'm going to make 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch. And this is how my work looks so far. So 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch. And you're going to repeat that all across to the end of where you made your last brown stitch, and then come back. This is how my work looks so far, and I have 2 stitches left. I'm going to go ahead and just finish making 1 single crochet into those last 2 stitches. Then you're going to take and slip stitch into the same stitch where you joined. Take your crochet hook, go into that same stitch, and you're going to make a slip stitch, yarn over, and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Then you're going to finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the white portion of the eye onto your dog when we're ready. Now we have one last step for the eye, and this is how your eye should look so far. Now you're going to get your Caron Simply Soft white yarn. You can see how it has a nice glimmer to it. You could use your other white yarn if you wanted to. I just like using this one because, let me get my tapestry needle, go ahead and put it onto a tapestry needle, because I like the way it shines and it's not as thick. And you're going to double it up. So go ahead and double up the yarn and put it onto your tapestry needle. So I've doubled up my yarn onto my tapestry needle, and now I'm going to take the eye, and depending on, this is how the eye is going to be on the dog, where the point of the black portion of the eye is going to be facing up. So this is the color portion of the eye, and then you have the white of the eye. So if it's going to be a left eye, then you're going to want your white dot on the left side. If it's going to be a right eye, then you're going to want the white dot on the right side. So make sure that you put the white dot on the right side of whatever eye that you're making. So of course you're making two eyes, a left and a right one. I'm going to make the right one now. So I'm going to go from, this is the right side. You want the right side facing you. The wrong side is the side you have your loose yarn end coming out of the magic circle. So I have the right side facing me. I'm going to take my tapestry needle, come in from the wrong side in the corner of the eye. I'm going to go a little bit higher. Well, you just have to position. I'm going to go about right there. So you can see from the position of the magic circle that I went up one row and came out with my tapestry needle. Make sure you leave enough yarn on the back for tying a knot. Then you're going to take and go back in, but go only one stitch up. Just like that. Go back in. Make sure that both yarn ends get tucked, pulled tight. And then you have the little white dot. And if you want the white dot to go a little bit higher, then you can position it that way, which is how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go back in the same way, but I'm going to go up just a little bit higher. So I'm going to go in at that point. So you can position the white of the eye however you want. That's how I positioned mine. And then once you have it positioned, then you go ahead and tie a knot on the back and then come back. This is how my eye looks when I'm done, and this is my right eye. So my left eye will have the dot on the other side. Go ahead and make two eyes and then come back. Now to make the snout, you're going to need your white yarn, and you're going to start with a magic circle. So just drape your yarn across your four fingers, use your thumb to stabilize, and then wrap the yarn around your two middle fingers. And then hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. And then we're using our J or 6mm crochet hook. Just go under those two loops around the middle fingers. You're going to bring up a loop. And then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for a slip knot. Then you're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. Then you're going to take your forefinger and your thumb, and you're just going to hold the base of those 6 single crochet, And then you have these 2 loops on the opposite side that you're going to pull on one of them. If it doesn't close, let go and pull on the other loop, but this one's closing, so you're just going to gently close it. Then take that loose yarn end and then pull on that. Then just turn your work so that your first stitch is facing up. Then you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12. And then come back. Now you're going to need a yarn marker, and I'm just going to use one of my scraps of yarn. Just place it right where you left off, and we're going to start doing or making our increase rounds. So for the first increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around. 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And then you just repeat that all the way around back to the yarn marker, and then come back. If you need to close the center of your magic circle, if you have a little hole there, just turn your work over and gently pull on that loose yarn end, and then that closes up your work nicely. Now for the next increase round, you just take your yarn marker and you're just going to move it up right where you left off. And this time you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And then 2 single crochet into the third stitch. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. This is how your work should look so far. Go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up, and then you're going to make another increase round. You're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the same stitch on the 4th stitch. Repeat that all the way around back to the yarn marker, and then come back. After that round, go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up. And now you're only going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch around for 3 rounds. So 1 single crochet into every stitch for 3 rounds, and then come back. After you've completed 3 rounds, 1, 2, 3, of 1 single crochet into every stitch, go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up. We're going to make another increase round. You're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. And then you're going to make 2 single crochet into the 5th stitch. And then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker, and then come back. After you finish that round, go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up. And this time you're going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch for another 3 rounds. So only 1 single crochet in every stitch for 3 rounds, and then come back. This is how your work should look so far. You should have finished 3 rounds of 1 single crochet into every stitch. Go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up. This time you're only going to make 1 single crochet into 5 stitches. Then you're going to make a slip stitch into the next stitch. So you take your crochet hook, go into that next stitch, you're going to yarn over, and pull the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Then you're going to turn your work and you're going to make a single crochet into the next stitch, and you're going to make a single crochet into a total of 5 stitches. That should bring you back to your yarn marker. You're going to make a slip stitch into the next stitch over. Then you're going to make a chain of 1, turn your work, and then you're going to make a single crochet into the next 5 stitches. Then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then make a single crochet into every stitch, which would be a total of 5. And then chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to keep making a single crochet into a total of 5 stitches, and then chain 1 and turn, and keep repeating until you've completed 8 rows, and then come back. After you've completed 8 rows of 1 single crochet into every stitch, then you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. This time you're going to make a single crochet into the same stitch. So you go into the same stitch, make a single crochet, then you're going to make a single crochet into every stitch except for the last stitch. You're going to make 2 single crochet into the last stitch. Then you're going to chain 1, then you're going to single crochet into the next stitch over, and this one will be the 3rd single crochet, 4th single crochet, 5th, 6th, and then there's one more on the end, which will make 7. Then chain 1, turn your work, and then you should have a total of 7 now. Here's the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So you're going to keep making 1 single crochet into 7 stitches. You chain 1 and then make your single crochet into 7 stitches until you've completed 5 rows, and then come back. Now after you've completed your 5th row of the 1 single crochet into 7 stitches, then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and again you're going to make a single crochet into the same stitch, and then make 1 single crochet into every stitch across until you get to the last stitch. Then you're going to make 2 single crochet into that last stitch. Then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to make a single crochet into the next stitch over. So that would be your second, because your chain 1 would count as your first. This would be your third stitch, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth. So go ahead, finish one more row of 1 single crochet into 9 stitches. So you're going to chain 1 and then turn your work and repeat until you've completed a total of 3 rows of the 1 single crochet into 9 stitches. You should have completed 1 single crochet into every stitch for 9 stitches for 3 more rows. Now you're going to go ahead and make 8 more rows of just 1 single crochet into every stitch. So chain 1 and then 1 single crochet in each of the 9 stitches for 8 more rows, and then come back. And this is how my work is looking so far for the snout. This is how your work should look so far. This is the snout portion, and this is the portion that goes on the forehead of the dog. Then you're just going to take your work and finish off. So just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew the piece onto the dog. Now you're just going to get your nose and just put a little bit of craft stuffing into the nose, and I just use a regular cheap inexpensive pillow to stuff it with. Then take your tapestry needle and either place it onto the long end that you left for sewing or just get some black yarn. Then you're going to take and line up your nose, and for mine I'm going to start at the center of the magic circle and then count up 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, and then just place your nose. Make sure that your nose is straight in line with the forehead piece. You don't want it to be crooked. So just line it up. Once you have it lined up, then just take your tapestry needle and sew the nose in place. You just go in and out. Get my tapestry needle back on. And you just sew the nose onto the snout. Just going in and out at the bottom and sewing it in place all the way around, and then come back. Once you have your nose sewed on to the snout, then you're going to take your tapestry needle with the black yarn and you're going to go in from the inside of the snout, come out at the bottom of the nose about midway with your tapestry needle, because we're going to make the mouth. Then you're going to go straight down about 1 row. Actually, you're going to go down a couple of rows, depending on how big you want your mouth. Then you're just going to go 1 stitch over and 2 rows to the side. And I'm going to bring mine over just a little bit more. So I'm actually a couple of stitches over and then 2 rows down. And then you're going to go right back in the bottom of the mouth. And then you're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Make sure that they are equal. You don't want your mouth to be crooked. Then you're just going to tie a knot on the inside and you have your mouth. Now you should have all the pieces for putting the head together. So we have our snout with the nose and the mouth sewn on. We're going to set that aside for now. You should have your 2 eyes, the left and the right eye. I have mine backwards. The left and the right eye. And then you should have your front. This is your side panel. You should have that completed. Then you have your front panel and your back panel. So your back panel is a little bit shorter. We're going to set the back panel aside for now. And we're going to work with the front panel and putting the face on. So the first thing you're going to do is line up the snout. And we can always extend the white portion later if we want to, but for now we're just going to position the snout and the eyes about where you want to have them. And remember that we're going to be making the wrinkles, a couple of wrinkles on the head. So I'm going to show you how I have mine positioned when I get back. So the first thing you're going to want to do is position the snout, the bottom of the snout, and make sure that it's centered on both sides. And I went up counting, this first row counts as 1, and then you have 2, 3, 4, 5. So I went up to the 5th row to line up the bottom of the snout. And then you're just going to get your tapestry needle with the white yarn and just sew the bottom portion of the snout for now. So you can see how I'm taking the yarn from the wrong side. Make sure you leave enough yarn on the wrong side to tie a knot. And I'm just sewing right along the bottom of the snout, going in and out. And then once you have the bottom sewn on, then we can stuff the snout with craft stuffing and finish sewing along the top of the snout. You don't want to sew the forehead portion down yet. This is how my snout looks after getting it sewn on. You can see I sewed it on really well. I just left the forehead flap not sewn. You don't want to sew that down yet. So this is what it looks like. This is how many rows up from the bottom. And then I have an equal number on both sides to center the snout. Now I'm going to go ahead and place the eyes. And how I place the eyes, I want to have about a ½ centimeter gap along the side. So I'm going to sew my eyes on, and then I'm going to show you how the distance that I have. And the other thing I want to show you is that when you're sewing, make sure that you sew the black portion with the black yarn, and then the brown portion, of course, with the brown yarn, and then the white portion with the white yarn. Once you have your eyes sewn on, then you can go ahead and sew the forehead portion down with the white yarn. But I just wanted to show you the distance my spacing for where I sewed my eyes down. And remember, the white portion goes on the right side, and then for the other eye it goes on the left side. And just make sure that when you sew the eyes on that you have them spaced exactly the same. And then once you have everything sewn in place, I'm going to show you how to make the little wrinkles that go right above the eye. Now go ahead and get your tapestry needle with the honey colored yarn. We're going to make our first wrinkle. So I'm over one of my eyes, and I'm just going to pinch up the golden colored yarn and just make about 1 row worth of a wrinkle. And then you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're just going to go right through from the opposite side. Leave enough loose yarn end for tying a knot, and then you're just going to go right back through and then you're going to want to tie a knot. And then you're only going to want just a couple of stitches to hold the wrinkle. So you just go right back through. I'm going to make one more stitch. And then you're going to want to go back down to where your loose yarn end is. And then tie another knot. Then go ahead and bring your loose yarn ends to the wrong side by just going right where you tied the knot into the back portion. Bring both loose yarn ends to the other side and then do the same thing on the other eye. This is what mine looks like after sewing the wrinkle on both sides. Now you're going to make the big wrinkle right above the small wrinkle that you made. You're just going to scoop up the yarn, and this time you're going to try to grab a couple of rows, and you're just going to sew the same way. Make sure you leave enough of a loose yarn end, and you want the wrinkle as close to the other wrinkle as possible, and then you just sew in and out, tie your knot, and then I'm just going to sew a couple of stitches to make sure that the wrinkle is in place. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side and then come back. This is how the face should look after getting the wrinkles sewn. You can see how you have a couple of wrinkles right above the eyes just to accentuate the sad look of the eyes and the wrinkles of a hound dog. Now we're ready to sew on the side panel and the back panel. Now you're going to want your tapestry needle with the honey colored yarn or the same color yarn as the hound dog that you're making. Go ahead and take the face of the hound dog and make sure that it's facing up, just like mine. Then you're going to take your side panel and you want the right side facing up. So whatever side that you want showing on the outside of your dog, make sure that it's facing up. Then you're going to place it right alongside the face of the hound dog. Then you're going to flip it over, just like this. Now the wrong side is facing up. Then you're going to take the two corners. You can move it around. And we are going to start sewing with our tapestry needle. Just make sure that you line up the two ends. Take your tapestry needle and then you're just going to go right through the end, stitches only, and then just sew them together. So you're just going to take and sew the two ends together. When you reach the end, or the top of the head, come back. I'm just going to undo my knot, but go ahead, sew along the edge, and then when you reach the end, come back.